Hello dear students, welcome back again to Chinmoy's biology channel. So this is the third part and the final part of microbial world. So I hope you have gone through the previous two episodes of microbial world. So if you have not yet gone through that, I am putting the link above as well as in the description box. Please go through it so that it will make your learning process easier. So let's get started with today's episode of microbial world part 3. Now, what are the learning objectives of today's lesson? So today we are going to discuss about the disease causing microorganisms in animals. We are going to discuss about the microorganisms which are causing disease in plants, food spoiling, food preservation, pasteurization, and nitrogen cycle and nitrogen fixation. So let's get started with today's episode, Microbial World Part 3. So I think you all will be going through this episode, and please subscribe to my channel if you want to know regarding the upcoming lessons which I'll be posting from the next video. So stay tuned, stay updated, and don't forget to share my videos with your friends also if you are liking my lesson. So let's get started with today's episode. Now, in the previous episode, we have discussed about the disease-causing microorganisms in humans. Now, we are going to discuss about the disease-causing microorganisms in animals. So, several microorganisms not only cause diseases in humans and plants, they also cause disease in animals. So, Robert Koch was the scientist in 1876 who discovered the bacterium Bacillus anthracis, which caused anthrax disease in animals. So, anthrax is a very dangerous disease for dangerous human and cattle disease caused by a bacterium. So foot and mouth disease also is a cattle disease which is caused by a virus. Now, other than this, there are several diseases like in plants. We can see that in wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, orange, apple, and others, there are certain diseases which are caused by these microorganisms. The diseases, they reduce the yield of crops. For some plants, such plants diseases, they can also be controlled by certain use of certain chemicals which kill the microbes. Okay, so let us go through this chart that these are some common plant diseases caused by microorganisms. First one is the citrus canker. It is caused by bacteria and its mode of transmission is air. Next is the rust of wheat. So rust of wheat is caused by fungi and it is also caused by air and seeds. Now next one is the yellow vein mosaic disease, which is caused in the mainly the bindi or the okra. It is caused by a virus and it is also transmitted through insect. Now let us come to food poisoning. So what is food poisoning? Now here they have given you an example that a person who went to a friend's party, he came back and he started vomiting and he has been taken to the hospital and the doctor told he had food poisoning. So what is food poisoning and what is poison? Now food poisoning, when it happens, when it could be due to the consumption of food which is spoiled by microorganisms. So how it can grow in the food? Generally the food which has been stored in a wrong way or improper way for a certain period of time, then this microorganisms, they grow in this food and they create the toxic substances, and these toxic substances, they make the food poisonous, causing serious illness and they even cause death. So it is very important for us that we can preserve food to prevent from certain, we can say that being spoiled. Okay. So what is food preservation? So in our first chapter we have already learned the methods of preserving the grains and all. If you remember when we talked about crop management and all. So if you have not yet gone through that lesson also, I'll be putting the link above and in the description box also. So how to preserve the cooked food at home. You know that bread which is left unused under moist condition, it causes fungus, and microorganisms, they spoil our food also. Spoiled food emits bad smell and bad taste and color. So we should be careful that if we are not taking proper food, it can cause food poisoning also. Now here they have given an example. Paheli, she brought some mangoes but she could not eat them after a few days. She found they were spoiled and rotten, but she saw that the mango pickle her mother prepared, it didn't spoil for a long time. So how we should study the methods of preparing the food also. So if the food or the mango is prepared in such a way that it can be preserved for a long period of time, so we should study the methods of preservation. Now, so salts and edible oils are the common chemicals generally used to check the growth of microorganisms, and therefore they are called preservatives. So edible oil like mustard oil and all, they are used as preservative. In pickles we are using high amount of salt and oil, and these are the common chemicals which are generally used to check the growth of microorganisms. Microorganisms don't grow when there is a high concentration of salt and oil. So we add salt or acid preservatives to some of the pickles. So sodium benzoate is also one of the preservative which is being added to tomato sauce. Sodium metabisulfate are also common preservatives which are added to jams and squashes and sauces to prevent their spoilage. Now preservation by common salt. Now common salt has been used to preserve fish and meat for ages, and salting used to preserve the amla, raw mangoes as well as tamarind. Okay. Now preservation by sugar. Jams, jellies, squashes are preserved by sugar. Sugar reduces the moisture content and inhibits the growth of bacteria. Now preservation by oil and vinegar. Use of oil and vinegar prevents the spoilage of pickles because bacteria cannot live in such an environment where there is oil and vinegar. So vegetables, fruits, fish and meat are often preserved by this method. Now heat and cold treatments, that is, you have observed that your mother is boiling the milk before it is stored and used. So boiling kills certain microorganisms and it is protecting the milk from getting spoiled. So Louis Pasteur was a scientist who first pasteurized the milk. That is, pasteurized milk can be consumed without boiling and it is free from harmful microbes. The milk heated above 70 degrees centigrade for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilled and stored. So this is called pasteurization. So this process was discovered by Louis Pasteur and the process is called pasteurization. So the milk should not come in contact with air. So it should be boiled at 70 degrees centigrade and it should be cooled and it should be stored and immediately without coming contact with air. So you can cut the packet of pasteurized milk and drink then and there only. So no need to boil. Storage and packing. These days dry fruits and even vegetables are sold in sealed airtight packets to prevent the attack from microbes. So we can see that these can prevent the destruction of these or spoiling of these vegetables and fruits. So next, in the next slide, we are going to discuss about the nitrogen fixation process. Now lastly, here comes nitrogen fixation. So we have already told and the previous class also we have already studied about this rhizobium which lives in the root nodules of leguminous plants. In that crop management previous lesson also we told that crop rotation also this rhizobium bacteria which can convert the nitrogen of the soil to nitrates and nitrites to preserve the soil fertility. So this is the nitrogen fixation, such as beans and peas plants. These are leguminous plants and with which it has a symbiotic relationship. Sometimes the nitrogen is fixed through the action of lightning also. So let us see that what is nitrogen cycle. So let us just discuss about nitrogen cycle. So these are plants in this root nodules. The leguminous bacteria is there and these leguminous bacteria, they will convert the atmospheric nitrogen to the soil, to the nitrates and nitrites. Okay, so our atmosphere, it is having 78% of the nitrogen gas, and nitrogen is one of the essential constituent of our of all the living organisms. Like it is a part of protein, it is a part of chlorophyll, nucleic acid and vitamins, right? So the atmospheric nitrogen cannot be taken directly by plants and animals. What we need to do, certain bacteria like blue-green algae and they are present in the soil. They fix the nitrogen, they convert the atmospheric nitrogen into compounds of nitrogen. Okay, so once the nitrogen is converted into these usable compounds, it can be utilized by the plants from the soil through their root system. So nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of plant proteins and other compounds, right? So animals feeding on the plants, they get proteins and other nitrogen compounds from the plants itself. So this is how the cycle continues from the plants to animals. The plants and animals, they die. Bacteria and fungi present in the soil convert them into nitrogenous waste and nitrogenous compound, and they can be used for the plants again. So this cycle continues from the atmospheric nitrogen to soil, and from soil, as a result, it is again decomposing, and certain bacteria convert some part of the nitrogen gas and it goes back to the atmosphere. Okay, So as a result, the percentage of nitrogen in the atmosphere, it remains more or less constant. So this is a very nice flow chart of the nitrogen cycle. So just learn this properly and it will be very easy for you to memorize the nitrogen cycle. So this is the atmospheric nitrogen, which is converted to by nitrogen fixing bacteria. From the atmospheric nitrogen, the bacteria in turn fix the nitrogen into nitrogenous compounds, and then they are getting converted in the compounds of nitrogen in the soil. Again, they are being released by certain bacteria in turn to gaseous nitrogen also. Now atmospheric nitrogen, by the help of lightning also, they are being converted to compounds of nitrogen in the soil. Now what is these nitrogen in the soil? They are taken up by the plants. The plants are being eaten by the animals. The animals' nitrogenous waste from excretion and death, they again mix up to the soil. So this is a constant cyclical process which is happening in the atmosphere. This is very important nitrogen cycle. Thus just learn this flow chart and you will get everything clearly. So this is all for today's episode, and this is the last part of microbial world, part 3. So I have covered all the topics. In the next video I will be just uploading you few important notes on this lesson with definitions, with notes and all. So I hope it will be very much beneficial for your learning process. So please subscribe to my channel, stay tuned, stay updated more for the notes of this lesson as well as the other upcoming lessons which I will be going to teach you in the coming videos. So please share my video with your friend if you like my videos. Stay tuned, stay updated, and please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.